Hi, in this short video I want to tell you why I'm doing this series and why I think biblical archaeology is both inspiring and faith-building. Enjoy! My goal is to inform and inspire you, strengthen your faith, and help you see the Bible in a new light through these videos that I try to keep very short. I will show you new findings as well as old ones. Literally tons of artifacts have been found that have relevance for the Bible. In 1 Corinthians 15, Paul writes about that our faith is futile, it's worthless, if Christ has not been raised from the dead. So historical facts do matter, and archaeology often gives us hard facts. We have different kinds of evidence for much of the Bible, also from sources outside Christianity. For many years, critics taunted believers as there were no physical evidence for the existence of the Hittites. Well, there wasn't, until it was found, and there is a lot. Nowadays you can learn about their language, culture, etc. I just mention this because the absence of proof is not the same as proof of absence. So why does biblical archaeology matter? I'll give you a few of my reasons during the next couple of minutes. Let's start with it confirms the Bible with empirical data. So we get names and places, etc. that correspond to what we see in the Bible. For example, on the top left, we have the long-awaited evidence of the House of David, an inscription, and next picture is sling stones next to the tennis ball. And you can imagine, the weight of that sling stone going with 100 kilometers per hour or 60 miles per hour. That can easily crush a skull. There's also a lot of documentation from other peoples on what happened, for instance, during the captivity. Another reason why I like biblical archaeology is that it adds color and facts to the biblical stories. On the top row we have these bullae, clay imprints with names that we know from the Bible, and some foreign kings have also recorded both stories and pictures of people they deported, even Israelite kings. You can see many of these amazing finds yourselves in the museum in Europe, for instance British Museum in London, or the Louvre in Paris, or a great museum in Berlin also. You can see the warfare and the machinery and the kings, etc. Of course, biblical archaeology also helps with dating, the chronology. Here are other beautiful findings with biblical relevance, of which many can be seen here in Europe. There's also a lot of evidence from the Assyrian, Babylonian and Persian times. Another thing biblical archaeology helps us with is giving us knowledge about the cultures from the times when the Bible was written. So many different civilizations were connected to the biblical story. Here we have pictures from the Roman, the Egyptian time, Babylonian, Assyrian, Persian, Sumerian, etc. And these are findings relating to the New Testament, so we will be looking at some of those later also. Of course, another reason why biblical archaeology matters is that it strengthens our personal faith. Here are a lot of other finds that relate to King Herod and the time of Jesus, and finally the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. You also see a mikveh in the middle where they baptize people, both in Jewish and probably in Christian times also. The top left pictures are connected to an amazing story about the excavation, but I'll keep that for another time. We also find a lot of everyday objects. Coins are found everywhere. They help with dating, of course. Then we have these pot shards, ostraka, that have been reused, also written on. And the handwriting changes from generation to generation, so that can also help with dating. You can compare your handwriting to that of your parents or your grandparents, and you know what I mean. Looking at this picture, we realize that with all the modern houses built on top of the ancient settlements, it is hard to get some of the good stuff out of the ground that is still there. So they say that about 1% of the archaeological sites in Israel have been excavated, but they're still working on it and still finding a lot of new stuff every year. Some of these findings are 4,000 years old, like the board game on the top row that was found in the hometown of Abraham. Now you've seen, although very briefly, 150 of my top archaeological findings, and I can't wait to tell you more about a selection of them. All of them have a great story. I will also tell you about new findings from the last couple of years. And next episode will be about a man that was crucified in England. Check it out when you have a chance. Take care and bye for now.